And hi. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to personalize your child's yoga mat, or how to let your child personalize themselves. This is a good way to get them to stay on the mat while you're practicing yoga. Here's one that my daughter decorated. And what we did with this, if you can see it, is we took fabric markers, and these are Tulip brand fabric markers, and use them to draw the designs on. I find that if you use permanent ink markers, the ink doesn't ever quite dry. It stays sticky and it actually will come off on your feet, on your hands, etc. So the fabric markers seem to be the best bet for this. And then what I did was I just had tons of embellishments. This was an old Hawaiian lei that had fallen apart. We glued it on there with sequins, if you can see that, and some random little felt pieces. And she just decorated herself. I don't know if you can see the sparkles in there, but this part here, what she did was she took some of these glitter pens and just kind of went over top of the marker with the glitter glue. And when it dried, it has a nice little shiny rubberized surface. So she has her own personalized mat. Here's another one that I did. And what I found is that it's best, if you're going to put the embellishments on it, to keep them to the edges like this. Some children will not want to step on top of their designs. You can see that. And other children, especially if you're talking about children that have sensory challenges, won't like the feeling of the glue and the paint or the sequins under their feet. So that's another way you can decorate it, is to keep it just on the corners or on the edges. You could put their initial, whatever they like, but just when you're having them do it, tell them to keep it around the edges of the mat and not in the center part where you're going to put your feet. Here's one that I painted quite a long time ago. In fact, this one's ready to be retired. This one was done using a mixture of acrylic paint and a little bit of Elmer's glue and just a drop of water for consistency. And once the paint dried, I took a little bit more of Elmer's and water, made it a very, very more water mixture than glue. And you probably can't see it again, but there's little tiny fine glitter that I put in it. And I just sponged it over top of the design, let it dry. And I did that a few times. And it's really worn pretty well. It's not cracking. It's not dried out. This mat is probably about 3 years old. And as you can see, it's been well loved. There's a little bit of ground in dirt on it. But it held up really, really, really well. Now another idea, if you notice, sometimes the kids will find little spots. I can't find one here, but they'll pick little chunks out of the mat. So what I went and did is I took the good parts of the mat. I have a 16-inch bowl, and I just cut a circle out of the mat. Now the disadvantage to this is that they don't have a rectangular defined space to do their movements. But the advantage is there's a lot less to pick, especially if their bottoms are sitting on this. I just called it the peace circle. I tried it with one class. It seemed to work pretty well. Again, it depends on the age of your children. If you have older children, they're going to want a full-size mat. And at that point, they're not going to, hopefully, to be picking the pieces of the mat off, especially if it's their own mat. They're going to take better care of it. But these, I just took the mats that were still good and recycled them. This way you can get a little more life out of your yoga mats. All different colors. They're very colorful, very pretty. Here's pink. I have one little girl that loves pink. And this is, again, this is about 16 inches. I just set a bowl upside down and traced it and cut around it. And I guess you could probably use these for lots of different games, for movement, for directional left and right, forward and backward. So I'm sure that there's a lot of good ideas out there. I haven't really had time to sit down and develop any of them yet, so hopefully I'll be able to do that as time goes on. Okay, so in this way, what you can do is you can personalize a mat to encourage a child to practice yoga more, or you can give longer life to your used mats by cutting them into circles This way you don't have to throw them out and work with them looking all with holes in them and all damaged. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any other ideas of how to use or recycle yoga mats, I would love to hear them. You can post them beneath this video, or you can email them to Barbara@bodylogic.com, or you can find us on Facebook as Body Logic.